السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يضلل الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I start in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, and I ask He send blessings and peace upon Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his prophet and final messenger. Today, brothers, I want to ask you a simple question. Do you want to be successful? And there's a simple answer. Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? But we have to ask ourselves, where can we find the success in this dunya and the hereafter? Where can we find it? And as Muslims, we know that success is found along the straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim. And in Surah Fatiha, we recite, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. We ask Allah and we make dua to Him for Him to guide us along the straight path. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. And the next surah, Allah says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the book. There is no doubt about it. A guide for those who are mindful of Allah. And before I continue, I want to say quickly as a reminder to us all that when we read and when we hear the Quran, that these are the words of Allah that we are reading and that we are hearing. So you're probably thinking, of course, Zayn, we know that the Quran is the word of Allah. Of course, it's common knowledge. But really think about it. Really think about it. The Lord of the heavens and the earth, the one who created both the heavens and the earth, the Almighty is talking to you and me directly. Subhanallah. Allah says in the Quran, وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَدِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. That He has completed His favor upon us and approved Islam as our religion. This Quran is a favor upon us from Allah. Allah has given us the perfect opportunity and a guide to be successful in this life and the next. So what does Allah say in the Quran about those who are successful? Allah says in Surah Mu'minun, in the first ayah, قَدْ أَفْلَهَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Indeed, successful are the believers. In the next four ayahs, Allah tells us who are the believers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those who humble themselves in prayer. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Those who don't participate in idle talk. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. Those who pay their alms tax. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. And those who guard the chastity. Furthermore, in Surah Nahl, Allah says, whoever does good, whether male or female, and believes, we will surely bless them with a good life. So the life in this life. And we will certainly reward them according to the best of their deeds. So the hereafter. The reward in the hereafter is Jannah, inshallah. So Allah is promising us, if we do good and we are believers, remember what Allah said, who are the believers, then we will be rewarded in this life and the next. And this is a promise from your Lord. I could go on and on for hours about all the lessons that we can learn from the Quran. I do think it's important that we should read the translation of the Quran from time to time to understand exactly what Allah is telling us. And we can benefit greatly from that, inshallah. Allah also sent down Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as a warner and a messenger to us. And what does he say about the believers? He says in Sahih Muslim that the way of a believer is very strange, and none except for the believer has this type of way. For when there is an occasion where the believer is in delight, he thanks Allah. And so for that, he is rewarded. And for an occasion where he is in trouble and he endures it patiently, he is rewarded for that. So in a good situation, he is rewarded, and in a bad situation, he is still rewarded. So the believer is constantly successful. And finally, I think it's important to remind ourselves at all times that we are in need of Allah and Allah is not in need of us, and that without Allah, we are absolutely nothing. Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. He says, we did not create the jinn and the humans except to worship me. So we should always turn to Allah in every single situation and circumstance, whether it's good or bad, and we should always be mindful of Allah. Sometimes we get caught up in our schoolwork or our jobs, and we're working hard in those trying to achieve better. But how much do we ask Allah and make dua to Allah to help us in these situations? Because Allah's might is limitless, and He can definitely answer any dua we ask Him in this life or the hereafter. So always ask, big or small, to Allah. To Allah first, and then you work hard. Inshallah, we will be rewarded for it in this life or the next. So brothers, to conclude, if you want to be successful, you need Allah. Without Allah, you will never be successful. We have to turn to the Quran and adhere to His teachings and adhere to the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Allah to make us of those who are successful, and we ask Allah to make us of those who enter His paradise. And may we benefit from all the reminders that we have given in the past few weeks, and may Allah reward us for them. Ameen. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.